Human accepted an alien slave as payment, then learned she was a hidden princess. HFY Sci-Fi story. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's get back to our main character. The neon haze of Vorn. 7 Station clung to the air like burnt sugar, humming with flickering signs and the low, metallic groan of stressed power lines. Jace Rowan stepped through the blast door, boots echoing against the dinted steel floor, dusted with the residue of old plasma burns. His jacket, scorched at the collar, still carried the scent of the skirmish he'd narrowly escaped an hour earlier. He set the quantum shard he'd recovered onto the broker's counter, the surface vibrating faintly as the shard pulsed with unstable energy. For a moment, the only sound was the clicking of Krex's mandibles as the gray-skinned dealer inspected the artifact under a cracked scanner. 30,000, Krex rasped, voice glitching through a cheap translator. Jace's jaw tightened. That shard is worth at least 50. I nearly lost a lung retrieving it. Not my problem, human. Krex leaned back, amused, for fingers tapping the counter lightly. 30,000. Take it, or, the station lights flickered once, twice, then steadied. Somewhere across the hall, a cargo hauler vented steam with a violent hiss. Jace exhaled slowly. He needed the credits. His ship needed repairs. His brother needed medication waiting back on Solara Ridge. He swallowed his irritation. Fine. 30,000. Transfer it. Krex's grin widened unnaturally. Actually, funds are short today, but I can offer you something of equivalent value. Jace stiffened. Krex. Don't play. A button clicked. A metal door slid open with a tired hydraulic wheeze. And she stepped, or rather, was shoved, into view. A young alien woman, wrists bound in magnetic cuffs, a collar blinking red at her throat. Her skin shimmered silver blue under the neon light, like moonlit metal, and her long dark hair hung in tangled sheets down her back. Her eyes, deep violet, did not widen in fear. They hardened in fury. She stood tall despite the bruises dusting her arms. Krex gestured lazily. Pure-blooded. Healthy. Educated, I think. Picked her up from a raider caravan. Take her, and we're even. Jace felt something cold settle in his stomach. I don't buy people. Then consider it debt settlement. Krex shrugged. You walk away with the shard cash value. And the girl. Or you walk away with nothing. The girl lifted her chin, the slightest tremor betraying exhaustion. Do not take me. Human, she said, her voice sharp as fractured glass. Better to leave me here than pretend you are merciful. Jace met her stare. Something in it felt wrong. No, not wrong. Familiar. Pride. Rage. Dignity battered, but not broken. He looked back at Krex. Remove the collar. No refunds, Krex hissed. Take the deal or get out. Jace's pulse thudded once, heavy. Then he stepped forward and cut the cuffs with his plasma knife, the magnetic binders clattering to the floor. Krex jolted upright. Hey, you can't. The deal's done, Jace said flatly. You gave her to me. She's free. The girl stared at him, stunned for the first time, her breath catching in her throat as if she had forgotten how to inhale. Jace placed his jacket around her shoulders. Come on. You're safe now. Behind them, Krex slammed the counter in rage. But Jace didn't turn back. As he led the girl out of the broker's den, he didn't notice the faint glow that flickered beneath her skin, blooming like hidden starlight, as if a truth long buried was waking up for the first time. The corridor outside the broker's den vibrated with the hum of faulty transformers as Jace guided the alien girl through the narrow passage, her bare feet whispering against the metal floor. The station's air tasted like burnt coolant and recycled sweat, thick and sour, but she moved through it with a strange, rigid grace, as if pretending the filth did not touch her. Jace adjusted his jacket around her shoulders, the fabric hanging loose on her slender frame. The bruises beneath her silvery skin caught the neon reflections and made her look almost unreal, like a sculpture chipped and discarded. She did not thank him. She did not look away either. She watched everything, every angle, every exit, every threat, as if her mind had been trained to look for danger long before he met her. Jace tapped his wrist pad. Dock 6. My ship is there. It is safer than staying out here. You do not know what hunts me, she said quietly. Her voice did not tremble. It carried something older than fear. Jace glanced at her. Maybe not. But I know what Krex would have done. And I know what I will not allow. She studied him for a breath, the lights passing over her eyes like ripples across starlit water. They reached Dock 6 where Jace's ship, the Ashfall, waited like an old dog too tired to bark but loyal enough to stand. Its hull was scratched from micrometeorites and streaked with carbon scoring from a recent chase. The ramp hissed open when he keyed in the access code. The moment the girl stepped aboard, she paused, placing a hand on the wall as if listening to the engine's heartbeat. She is old, the girl murmured. But she still breathes. Just barely, Jace said. Strap in. The station security might already know Krex made a bad trade. He settled into the pilot's seat while she lingered at the threshold of the cockpit, unsure if she was allowed to enter. Jace nodded toward the co-pilot chair. You are not a prisoner. Sit. She obeyed, but her posture remained perfectly upright, hands folded with ceremonial precision, as if still bound by invisible chains. As the Ashfall detached from the dock, the station lights swept across her face, revealing the faint shimmer beneath her skin again. Not a glow, more like a memory of light. Jace noticed, but said nothing. They broke through the station's perimeter and drifted into the shipping lane. Jace kept one eye on the radar and one on her reflection in the cockpit glass. She breathed slow and shallow, as if conserving oxygen, as if she had learned to survive on almost nothing. Finally he asked, "What is your name?" A long silence stretched before she answered. Serai. He waited, expecting a surname, a clan marker, some identifier. None came. Serai, he repeated. I am Jace Rowan. She tilted her head slightly. You freed me. What? Because it was the right thing to do. She held his gaze, searching for deceit. In my experience, men who speak of what is right often hide what they truly want. Jace tightened his grip on the controls. I do not want anything from you. Everyone wants something. Fine, he said. I want to get you somewhere safe. After that, you choose your own path. She turned toward the stars streaming past the viewport, her eyes softening for the first time. Safety is not a place for someone like me, she whispered. Safety is an illusion I lost long ago. Before he could respond, the radar emitted a sharp warning tone. A small craft had just exited faster than light travel behind them. The signature was unmistakable. Syndicate hunters. Serai froze. Her hand tightened against the armrest. They found me. Not for long. Jace muttered as he rerouted power to the engines. The Ashfall shuddered, protesting the sudden strain, but the old ship pushed forward. The pursuing vessel grew on the radar, closing in fast. Why are they after you? Jace asked. She hesitated, lips parting as if to speak. But before she answered, the faint shimmer beneath her skin flared brighter, like starlight trapped under the surface. Jace stared. Serai, what are you? She closed her eyes. Someone who was never meant to be sold, she whispered. The hunters fired the first shot. The first plasma blast streaked past the Ashfall's starboard side, lighting up the cockpit with a harsh blue flash as alarms screamed through the cabin. Jace gritted his teeth and yanked the control column, forcing the old ship into a sharp roll that strained every bolt on the hull. Metal groaned like an animal in pain while the syndicate skimmer closed in behind them, its engines howling through the void. Serai clutched the armrest, but her face did not crumble into fear. Her eyes focused, sharpened, calculating every movement outside the viewport with a precision that did not match someone who should have been helpless. Jace punched the thrusters and muttered, Hold on. I am going to try and lose them in the debris field. The Ashfall shot forward toward the scattered remains of an ancient mining colony, where jagged chunks of metal and broken mineral rigs drifted silently in orbit. Navigation lights flickered across the narrow pathways, and the asteroid fragments spun lazily like teeth in a cosmic maw. This ship is not built for this, Serai warned softly. Neither is theirs, Jace answered. He skimmed the surface of a drifting or hauler, missing it by inches. The syndicate skimmer fired again, the blast ricocheting off a nearby slab of iron or scattering sparks across the emptiness. Serai leaned forward. You cannot outrun them. The hunters never stop. Then I will make them stop, Jace said, jerking the ashfall into a sudden dive. He cut the main engines, letting the ship fall into a dead spin through a cloud of shattered titanium scaffolds. Their pursuers overshot for a brief moment, confused by the sudden drop in speed. It gave Jace 3 seconds. He used all of them. He slammed the reverse thrusters, firing the ashfall upward beneath the skimmer's blind spot, leveling the ship just enough to angle the nose-mounted cannons. "Come on, girl," he whispered to the ship. "Just one good shot." The cannons roared. The plasma bolt tore into the underside of the Syndicate skimmer, sending sparks and burning fragments into the void. The hunters lost control, spiraling wildly before crashing into a floating girder that split their hull like a tin can. The explosion rippled through the debris field in a burst of orange flame. The threat was gone. For the moment, Jace exhaled hard, the adrenaline shaking through his arms. Alarms still blinked on the console, but the ashfall limped forward into open space. Serai's gaze lingered on him, unreadable. "You risked your life." "Again. I had to," Jace said, wiping sweat from his brow. "They were trying to take you." She tilted her head, studying him with an intensity that pressed against the quiet between them. "You do not know who I am." "You are someone who deserves a chance," he replied. "That is enough." Her expression softened, just barely, but she looked away as if afraid the moment might break her. Jace set a course toward the nearest unregistered refuel stop. The ashfall rattled as the engines settled into a steady hum. "We will touch down on Rydek's outpost," he said. "It is quiet, off-grid, and full of people who do not ask questions." Serai did not answer. Her hand brushed her collarbone, where the glow beneath her skin pulsed faintly like a heartbeat made of light. "Jace," she said at last, her voice lower. "The hunters were not after the girl you freed. They were after what I am." Jace tightened his grip on the controls. "Then what are you?" She inhaled slowly, as if preparing for something she had hidden for too long. But before she could speak, the ashfall's proximity sensors shrieked again, louder than before. A massive signature emerged on the radar, dwarfing the destroyed skimmer, dwarfing the ashfall itself. A cruiser. Not Syndicate. Not pirates. Something far older. Something far more powerful. Serai's face drained of color as she whispered, "They found me again. But not the hunters." Jace stared at the expanding radar echo and felt the cold weight of a truth he did not yet understand. "Who is it?" he asked. Serai's violet eyes glimmered with the same hidden light beneath her skin. "My people." The cruiser emerging on the radar blotted out the surrounding stars, its silhouette unfolding across the void like a sleeping beast waking from centuries of slumber. Its hull shimmered with pale gold plating that caught the light of distant suns, etched with patterns too intricate to be machine-made. Jace stared as the vessel drifted closer, its presence so massive the ashfall's sensors struggled to calculate its scale. Serai pressed a hand to the cockpit glass, her breath quick and shallow. "This is an Orenthal Sovereign-class vessel," she whispered. "They only deploy those when the stakes are catastrophic." Jace felt the tension run up his spine. "Are they coming to rescue you or silence you?" Serai closed her eyes. "Both can look the same." A beam of soft light extended from the cruiser, scanning their ship from bow to stern. The ashfall's consoles flickered as if recognizing a command older than any software installed on the vessel. A soft, melodic pulse echoed through the cockpit, vibrating the metal floor beneath their feet. Serai's skin responded instantly, the light under her surface flaring in perfect synchronization with the cruiser's pulse. She bowed her head. "They have linked to my biosignature. They know I am alive." Jace tightened his grip on the controls. "And they know you are with me." For a moment she looked at him, truly looked, the weight of unspoken things gathering in her gaze. "You must not fight them. You cannot win." "I am not planning to fight," Jace muttered. "I am planning to think." The cruiser sent a second pulse that latched onto the ashfall with an invisible force, slowing the smaller ship's momentum as gently as a hand on a child's shoulder, yet with absolute authority. The engine strained but did not break. "They are pulling us in," Serai murmured. Jace exhaled sharply. "Then I guess we are visiting your people." The ashfall drifted toward a docking bay the size of a stadium. The bay doors unfurled like petals of a metallic flower, revealing a chamber lit by soft golden illumination that seemed to breathe rather than shine. The closer they came, The more the glow beneath Serai's skin intensified, tracing patterns along her jawline and collarbone like constellations waking up. When the magnetic clamps latched onto the ashfall, the entire ship shuddered. A moment later the airlock cycled open with a soft, dignified chime. Jace stood, pulse hammering, and turned to Serai. "Stay behind me." She shook her head. "No. This time, you must not shield me. These are my people, and I am the one they came for." Before he could argue, the airlock door slid open, revealing a group of tall figures draped in flowing silver garments that glimmered like liquid starlight. Their eyes, glowing faintly gold, widened the moment they saw Serai. The one at the front stepped forward, his voice trembling. "Your Highness, Serai Velyndra, we feared you lost." Jace froze. He had expected royalty, but hearing the words spoken so plainly still hit him harder than he expected. Serai did not smile. She stood rigid, her face a mask carved from pain and duty. "Where is my mother?" she asked. The guards exchanged uneasy looks. The lead guard bowed his head. "The Empress awaits you in the Hall of Radiance. She has not slept since your capture." Serai inhaled as if bracing herself against a storm. "And the hunters?" "Eliminated. But others seek the bounty. Your disappearance has destabilized several factions." The guard's eyes flicked toward Jace for the first time, as if noticing he existed. "And who is this human?" Serai answered before Jace could speak. "He is the reason I am alive." The guard stiffened, clearly startled that she would claim any connection at all. Jace lifted his hand slightly. "I just got her out of a bad deal." "A bad deal?" The guard repeated slowly, as if the phrase were foreign. He turned to Serai. "Your Highness, protocol demands that any outsider be detained for questioning." Serai stepped forward, the glow beneath her skin intensifying into a radiant outline. "He will not be detained. He is under my protection." The guards faltered, exchanging uneasy glances. Royal authority, it seemed, weighed heavily even here. Jace whispered, "Serai, you do not have to do this." She looked at him, her violet eyes unwavering. "You risked yourself for me, Jace Rowan. Now I will risk myself for you." The cruiser's inner doors parted, revealing a long corridor lined with shimmering columns. Serai lifted her chin. "Come, it is time you meet the Empress of Arenthal." Jace exhaled. "That sounds big." "It is," she murmured. "And everything will change after this." The corridor stretched before them like a river of living light, each step echoing softly beneath Jace's boots as he followed Serai deeper into the heart of the Arenthal cruiser. Columns of translucent crystal pulsed gently along the walls, their glow resonating with the faint radiance beneath Serai's skin. She walked with purpose now, shoulders squared, every inch of her posture shifting into something undeniably regal. Jace watched her quietly, remembering the bruised girl shoved out of a broker's side door, and realizing she had never truly been that person at all. The guards flanked them in respectful silence, though their gazes flicked toward Jace with a mix of curiosity and suspicion. Humans were uncommon among the Arenthal, and one walking beside a lost princess made him even stranger. As they neared a towering archway, Serai slowed. The glow beneath her skin dimmed slightly, as if her courage faltered for a fraction of a second. Jace stepped closer, his voice low. "Are you all right?" She did not look at him. "I have not seen my mother since the day I was taken. I do not know if she will see the same daughter she lost." "She will see someone who survived," Jace said. "That counts for something." Serai's breath trembled before she steadied herself. She nodded once. The archway opened with a soft resonance, revealing the Hall of Radiance. It was enormous, circular, and bathed in warm golden light that shimmered like the inside of a star. At the center stood a raised platform surrounded by floating strands of crystalline fabric that shifted with her movements. The woman standing there made Jace's breath catch. The Empress of Arenthal was tall and ethereal, her skin shining with a deeper, richer silver than Serai's, and her hair cascading like liquefied moonlight. Her presence dominated the space effortlessly, not through force but through the weight of centuries of wisdom. When her eyes met Serai's, the strength in the Empress's posture wavered. Serai stepped forward. "Mother." The single word carried years of pain, fear, and longing. The Empress descended the platform with slow, measured steps. When she reached Serai, she lifted a trembling hand and touched her daughter's cheek. "My child," she whispered, her voice breaking in a way that made the hall feel too small to contain it. I felt your light fade the day you were taken. The stars themselves cried for you. Serai leaned into the touch, her eyes glimmering. I am here. I made it back. The Empress drew her into an embrace, holding her as if afraid she might disappear again. The hall was silent except for their breaths. When they finally separated, the Empress noticed Jace. Her expression shifted instantly from tenderness to guarded authority. Human, she said, her voice smooth but edged with steel. You brought my daughter back to me. Jace straightened. I only did what anyone should have done. No, the Empress replied. Most would have sold her. Most would have bargained her life for wealth or safety. But you did not. Jace swallowed hard, unsure how to respond. Serai stepped between them slightly. He risked himself for me. Twice. So I have been told, the Empress said, her gaze assessing him as if reading the story of his soul. But there is more here. The glow beneath my daughter's skin reacts only to bloodline proximity or deep emotional resonance. Serai stiffened. Mother, please, silence, the Empress murmured gently. I am not accusing him. I am observing. Jace frowned. What does that mean? The Empress walked a slow circle around him. Your presence alters her biofrequency. That has never happened with an outsider. Not in the history of our lineage. Serai's cheeks warmed with faint silver light. It is nothing. He simply protected me. It is not nothing, the Empress said. She turned toward Jace, her golden eyes sharp. Human, what do you feel toward my daughter? The question hit him harder than any plasma blast. Jace opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. I want her to be safe. That is all. The Empress studied him for a long, suffocating moment. Then she nodded once, slowly. Very well. You will remain aboard the cruiser under royal protection until the Council reviews your involvement. Jace blinked. Council. Serai stepped closer to him. Do not fear. I will not let them harm you. The Empress observed the exchange, her lips curving ever so slightly, as if recognizing something Serai herself did not yet understand. She lifted a hand, and the hall's golden light brightened. Come. There is much to discuss. My daughter has returned, and the balance of our empire is about to change. As Jace followed Serai toward the inner chamber, he wondered just how deep that change would reach. The inner chamber of the Orenthal cruiser felt different from the Hall of Radiance. The golden light softened into cooler tones of blue and silver, and the air carried a faint hum like the low vibration of a distant choir. Jace followed Serai and the Empress into the chamber, his pulse steady but alert, every instinct reminding him he was deep inside a vessel belonging to an empire he barely understood. The floor beneath their feet shifted gently with each step, as though responding to their presence. Serai walked close enough that Jace could feel the warmth of her radiance brushing his skin, but she kept her gaze forward, her posture heavy with responsibility. The Empress paused at a circular console embedded with flowing streams of light. She waved her hand above it, and the streams rose into the air, forming a holographic map of the star systems bordering Orenthal space. Several regions flickered in crimson. This is what your disappearance caused, the Empress said quietly. Factions moved. Alliances shifted. The Syndicate spread a lie that you willingly fled the Empire. They used your absence to justify the trafficking of our people. Serai's jaw tightened. That is why the hunters pursued me so aggressively. Yes, the Empress said. You were no longer just a princess. You were a symbol of instability. Jace folded his arms. So now that she is back, things calm down? The Empress looked at him as if studying a child who understood only a portion of the picture. Nothing calms that easily. The Council demands an explanation for your return. They will want to know who touched you, who aided you, and what intentions they carried. Serai stepped toward her mother. Jace saved my life. More than once. If the Council questions him, I will stand with him. The Empress's gaze softened at her daughter's conviction. I know, but the Council will not. They follow law, not sentiment. Serai's eyes flashed with a quiet defiance. Then they will adapt. Jace could not help a faint smile. Her strength no longer surprised him. It impressed him. A door opened along the side of the chamber, revealing a smaller room filled with crystalline structures shaped like flowers suspended in midair. Each one glowed with a unique color. Serai hesitated, then entered. This is the Chamber of Echoes, she murmured. Every member of the royal line undergoes physical and emotional resonance testing here. It proves identity. The Empress nodded. And it reveals corruption or outside influence. Jace's brows drew together. Influence? You mean like mind control? Or emotional imprinting? The Empress said evenly. Serai turned sharply. Mother, you know the truth, the Empress answered. Your light responds to him. That is not something we can ignore. Jace raised his hands, uneasy. Look, I did not do anything to influence her. I barely know her. Serai's voice dropped. You know enough to risk yourself for me. That is called decency, Jace replied. Not influence. The Empress gestured to one of the crystalline structures. Serai, touch it. Serai placed her palm against the hovering crystal. It lit instantly with a cascade of silver light. The strands of energy rippled outward, scanning her body and tracing her bloodstream like glowing rivers. Identity confirmed. The chamber announced in a calm, melodic tone. Princess Serai Velyndra. Uncorrupted. Unaltered. Emotional resonance elevated. Serai flinched. Elevated. Jace asked, what does that mean? The Empress regarded him with a steady, unreadable expression. It means her emotional responses are heightened. Something has intensified her connection to her environment. Or to someone. The crystal pulsed again. Secondary subject required for comparison, the chamber instructed. Jace took a step back. No, I am not touching that. I am not part of this. Serai looked at him, her expression softer than he had ever seen it. Please. That single word cut through his hesitation more sharply than any order. He approached the crystal reluctantly and placed his hand beside Serai's. For a moment nothing happened. Then the crystal erupted in a brilliant surge of silver and violet light, the glow washing over their arms and racing across the chamber walls. Jace felt the vibration run through his bones, not painful, but deep. It was as though something inside him was being read, weighed, and compared. When the light faded, the chamber spoke again. Emotional resonance between subjects detected. Unusual compatibility. The Empress inhaled slowly. Serai's breath caught. Jace blinked in. Disbelief. Unusual compatibility? What is that supposed to mean? The Empress answered, her voice low. In our culture, that phrase appears only in records involving soul-bonded pairs. Serai turned to Jace, eyes wide with something between shock and realization. That cannot be, she whispered. But the crystal pulsed once more, confirming what none of them were prepared to hear. The crystal's lingering glow faded into the cool air of the Chamber of Echoes, but the weight of its declaration hung heavily between them. Jace stood frozen, his hand still inches from Serai's, his mind struggling to process the meaning behind the words that had rippled through the chamber. Serai's chest rose and fell in shallow breaths, the light beneath her skin flickering with confusion and something deeper, something she clearly did not want to name. The Empress stepped forward slowly, her expression a controlled calm that failed to hide the storm in her eyes. Soul-bonded pairs are not a myth, she said. They are an exceedingly rare phenomenon in our history, the kind that alters political landscapes and reshapes destinies. If the chamber has identified such compatibility between you, it cannot be disregarded. Jace ran a hand through his hair. I did not do anything. I did not even know what soul bonding meant until 30 seconds ago. Serai shook her head. There must be an error. The chamber reacts to biofrequency alignment. He is human. I am Arenthal. There is no scientific pathway to explain this. Yet it happened, the Empress said. And the Council will want an explanation. Jace looked between them. Let me guess. The Council is not going to like that your princess might be connected to a nobody from a backwater planet. The Empress did not answer, which was answer enough. Serai stepped closer to Jace, her voice soft. This is not your burden. You did not ask for any of this. I will tell the Council the resonance was an anomaly. Before the Empress could intervene, the chamber lights flashed red. A sharp alarm reverberated through the walls. Alert, an artificial voice announced. Unidentified ships approaching. Impact imminent. The Empress stiffened. We are under attack. Serai's eyes widened. The Syndicate? They could not have followed us. Not the Syndicate, the Empress said grimly. Something worse. The crystal structures around them vibrated violently, shedding fragments of light. Jace felt the floor tremble beneath his boots. A heavy boom shook the cruiser, followed by the shriek of metal scraping against metal. Serai grabbed Jace's arm to steady herself. We need to get to the command deck. The Empress nodded. Yes. Follow me. They raced through the corridor, guards joining in formation around them. The walls pulsed with warning signals, each one escalating in pitch as the threat grew closer. When they reached the command deck, the massive viewport displayed a sight that made Jace's blood run cold. 6 colossal ships, each shaped like serrated blades, were tearing through space toward them. Their hulls burned with crimson energy, and their weapons glowed with the sickly promise of destruction. Serai's voice broke. No, the Red Echo Armada. They were exiled generations ago. They have returned, the Empress said. And they want you, Serai. Your capture could legitimize their claim to the throne. Jace stepped forward. What do they want with her? Everything, the Empress replied. Your bond makes you a target as well. Another blast shook the cruiser, throwing several guards off balance. The deck lights flickered, and the air shuddered with the strain of the shielding systems fighting to hold. Serai turned to Jace, gripping his hand with sudden urgency. Do not leave my side. Promise me. Jace squeezed her hand. I am not going anywhere. The Empress gave a rare nod of approval before issuing rapid commands to her officers. Prepare countermeasures. Activate full shielding. Divert all auxiliary power to defense systems. But even as she spoke, a sickening crack echoed through the cruiser. A jagged tear appeared in the air itself, as if reality were being peeled open. A boarding portal. The first of the Red Echo warriors stepped through, clad in armor forged from dark crimson alloy, and wielding weapons that hummed with lethal energy. Serai's light flared in response, her fear and resolve radiating outward in desperate waves. Jace stepped in front of her without thinking. The warrior raised his weapon. Jace held his ground. The Empress whispered, "This is the moment your resonance matters." The warrior lunged. The Red Echo warrior lunged with a crackling blade of crimson energy, and Jace barely had time to raise his arms before instinct and something deeper surged through him like a pulse of living electricity. A shockwave of silver and violet light burst outward from where he stood, striking the warrior mid-charge and hurling him across the command deck with enough force to dent the far wall. The entire room fell silent for a heartbeat. Serai stared at Jace, her eyes wide with disbelief. The Empress inhaled sharply as the glow beneath Serai's skin flared in perfect harmony with the light now coursing faintly through Jace's own veins. The resonance, the Empress whispered. It is actively protecting both of you. Jace shook his hands as if he could fling the energy away, but it lingered, humming under his skin. I did not do anything. It just happened. Serai's voice trembled. You reacted as if you were one of us. The warrior groaned and attempted to stand, but Jace stepped forward, adrenaline pushing aside confusion. Stay behind me, he said to Serai. This is going to get worse before it gets better. As if summoned by his words, 3 more Red Echo warriors stepped through the tear in space, their armor glowing with hostile crimson light. The lead warrior raised a gauntlet hand and pointed directly at Serai. Princess Serai Velyndra, you belong to the Red Echo now. Surrender, and we will spare your people. The Empress stepped forward, her voice calm and cold. You were exiled for treason and cruelty beyond measure. You have no claim here. The warrior's visor tilted slightly. We have every claim. The royal line is broken. The empire weakens. With the princess under our control, we restore order. Jace clenched his fists. She is not going anywhere with you. The warriors laughed, a harsh metallic sound. You think a human can protect her? But even as they mocked him, the glow beneath Jace's skin intensified, pulsing in rhythm with Serai's. The warriors hesitated. Impossible, one of them muttered. A human cannot resonate with royal blood. The Empress's voice rang like a blade. Yet he does. The Red Echo leader snarled and charged. Jace braced himself as the energy within him surged again, this time more controlled, more focused. When the warrior struck, the blow met an invisible barrier of shimmering light that burst outward in a wave, sending all 3 attackers flying back. The command deck shuddered under the impact. Serai rushed to Jace's side, her hand gripping his forearm. Jace, you cannot keep doing that. The resonance will drain you. I do not feel drained, he said through clenched teeth. I feel alive. The Empress raised her voice so that entire bridge could hear. All forces, defend the cruiser. Do not allow the Red Echo to breach the core. Officers hurried to reinforce the deck, shields flared to life across the ship, and more warriors poured into the chamber through the rift. Serai's glow brightened until the air around her shimmered with silvery light. They will not stop, she said softly. They have been waiting years for this opportunity. Then we stopped them first, Jace answered. The Red Echo leader recovered and pointed his blade at Jace. You, human, you are an abomination. Your existence threatens our mission. Good, Jace said. Then you are going to hate what happens next. The warrior lunged again, but this time Jace moved first, driven by instinct and a force he could not explain. The resonance flared between him and Serai, forming a sphere of radiant energy around them. The warrior's blade struck the barrier and shattered into molten fragments. The room filled with gasps as the Red Echo fighters realized the truth. He shares her power. A human? Impossible. He is bonded to the royal line. The Empress lifted a trembling hand to her mouth as the implications settled in. Serai stepped so close to Jace that her shoulder brushed his. You should not be able to do this, she whispered. But I am glad you can. The Red Echo warriors regrouped, preparing for another assault. The commander growled. If we cannot capture the princess alive, we will kill her and destroy you with her. Serai's fingers intertwined with Jace's, their hands glowing where they touched. She lifted her chin. Then try. The deck trembled again as the Red Echo forces charged. Jace and Serai stood together, their shared light rising brighter than ever, ready to meet the darkness head-on. The Red Echo forces surged forward in a final desperate wave, their armored boots pounding against the trembling command deck as crimson light flared from their weapons. Jace stood shoulder to shoulder with Serai, their joined hands glowing with the same impossible silver brilliance that had defied every law of physics he knew. The resonance pulsed through him like a second heartbeat, clearer and stronger than before, as if the very act of standing beside her sharpened his senses. Serai's voice was steady despite the chaos. Jace, when the resonance peaks, release it. Do not hold it back. I do not even know how I am doing this, he said. You do, she whispered. You saved me long before the crystal recognized us. You act from instinct, not knowledge. The Empress raised her staff, and a shield of golden light rippled across the bridge as the first wave of Red Echo warriors reached them. But even her power trembled beneath the relentless assault. Serai, the Empress called out, your light will decide the outcome. You must trust the bond. The Red Echo leader roared, bringing his crimson blade down in a savage arc aimed directly at Serai's heart. Jace moved without thought. The resonance exploded outward as if it had been waiting for that single moment. The silver and violet energy burst from him in a tidal wave, colliding with the crimson blade and shattering it into molten sparks that evaporated before touching the floor. The blast rippled across the deck, throwing every Red Echo warrior backward as if caught in the wake of a collapsing star. The rift they had entered through flickered violently, shrinking under the pressure of Serai and Jace's combined energy. The leader staggered, armor cracked and sparking. He stared at Jace in disbelief. A human should not wield this power. Jace's chest rose and fell with controlled intensity. Maybe not, but here I am. Serai stepped forward, her glow rising until she radiated like a living constellation. You hunted me. You tortured my people. You used my disappearance to spread chaos. And now you threaten the one who saved my life. Her voice rose with each word. Your time is over. The Red Echo leader snarled and lunged again, but Serai caught his blade in her bare hand. The violet and silver light surged through her arm, disintegrating the weapon into dust. The warrior froze, stunned. Serai exhaled slowly. Goodbye. The final resonance pulse erupted from both her and Jace, intertwining into a brilliant sphere that washed across the command deck. The Red Echo warriors vanished into streaks of crimson vapor, their forms collapsing into the collapsing rift that swallowed them whole before sealing shut with a thunderous snap that echoed through the cruiser. Silence followed. Vast, heavy, sacred. The Empress lowered her staff, eyes shimmering with awe. This was not battle, she whispered. This was destiny revealing itself. Jace staggered slightly, the glow fading from his veins. Serai caught him, her hands warm against his arms. Are you hurt? Jace shook his head. just overwhelmed. She smiled softly, the light beneath her skin settling into a gentle glow. Me too. The Empress approached, her expression a mixture of relief and understanding. Princess Serai Velyndra, your return has done more than restore balance. It has awakened an ancient bond long thought lost to time. She turned her gaze to Jace. And you, human, have proven that soul bond is not bound by species or lineage. It is bound by choice. Jace swallowed. What does that mean for me? The Empress's voice softened. It means you are no longer an outsider. The Orenthal will honor you as one of our own. If you choose to stay. Jace glanced at Serai, who looked back at him with a quiet vulnerability that made the entire galaxy seem to fade around them. If you stay, she said, I will stand with you. Jace exhaled. I came here by accident. He offered her a faint smile. But I am thinking of staying on purpose. Serai's eyes glimmered like starlight reflected on calm water. She stepped closer until their foreheads almost touched. Then you are welcome here, Jace Rowan. The Empress gestured toward the viewport. The stars stretched endlessly beyond the glass, shimmering with new possibility. The universe has changed, she said softly, because a human showed kindness when no one else would. Jace looked at Serai, her hand resting in his, warm and steady. He was not a hero, she whispered, just human, and that was enough.